Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very exciting video because we have like a pretty wide range of topics, and a lot of them are Switch 2 related or Nintendo related. We have some leaks, we have some rumors, we got what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and get right into this video. So we're in this weird period right now where it's like we're getting news, but we're also waiting for news, and we have Gamescom coming up in a week, and potential big Nintendo Directs happening next month, but we're still like looking for the information. Well, I've got some exciting information today. Yeah, I mean, we just got to talk about it. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our communities growing, and stay tuned to the end of the video so you can learn how to win some eShop gift cards or potentially a Nintendo Switch 2. First, we have to talk about the best news that has happened in a very long time. Look, I grew up with a GameCube. It is my favorite home console of all time, and the reason why I got one when I was younger is because it was the budget console. I got one on Black Friday, and it came with like that Zelda Master Disc thing where it was like Ocarina of Time, an hour of Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, and something else I believe. And that's the console I just had because that's what my family could afford. Sure, I would like to have a PS2 or an Xbox, but I couldn't afford it. So I played everything that the GameCube had to offer, and almost every one of Nintendo's franchises, like the big ones, all of my favorite entries are on the GameCube. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, the first Metroid Prime, Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now we got one game series on there that I feel like is very underappreciated, and that is ChibiRobo. Well, you know, Nintendo, just being Nintendo, randomly announced last night that ChibiRobo is coming to Nintendo Switch Online, I think August 21st. But dude, if you have never played this game, you need to play this. This is actually one of the better ChibiRobo games because some of them are kind of forgettable. And this is great news because if you want to buy ChibiRobo for the GameCube, it's like $200 or something. That's stupid, you know? I mean, you could emulate it if you want, and I have no pushback against that. But I just think being able to play it on your Nintendo Switch 2 whenever you want, that is a win in my book. Now, before we get into some bigger Nintendo Switch 2 leaks and rumors or whatever, let's talk about some very interesting stuff happening over on Twitter. Or X. Not X, we're calling it Twitter. What the hell is X? We had the Legend of Zelda movie make an official Twitter account, and I mean, that's kind of cool in my opinion. I'm expecting us to start getting updates more and more frequently over there. A lot of people were confused why this account is only following PlayStation and I believe Sony or Sony Pictures. And it's like, well, Sony Pictures is what's making this. And if I had to guess, this account has probably been there for a while. Yeah, it actually says join November 2023. So this account probably belonged to something else and they just scrubbed it and just added Legend of Zelda and changed the name. This is kind of cool, right? I am still very curious about how this movie is going to play out. It's live action, but I think Sony and Nintendo both really care about keeping like the integrity of something. So, you know, maybe it's going to turn out to be something really special. And I believe they said they're going to do a trilogy, or maybe I read that somewhere and that's wrong. So that's the first bit of Nintendo Twitter news, right? But there was another account making the rounds, and it's so stupid and weird and goofy and just kind of captures like what's going on in gaming news all the time. There was another account that was the Mario 40th anniversary account. And at first you're like, well, obviously that's fake. And then I've seen people saying Nintendo wouldn't do that. They have their own accounts, but Nintendo made a 35th anniversary Mario account. So it's not far-fetched that this could happen. So I was thinking, yeah, you know, this is a possibility. Now, I guess the red flag is this account was made all the way back in 2020, which would have been the 35th anniversary. But I actually think that's not a red flag. I'm not saying it's not fake. And I know a lot of people are like debunking it and saying, well, let's call it a day. It's not true. But it kind of makes sense. If you're making the 35th anniversary account and you know you're going to eventually make a 40th account, why not do it around the same time and just hold on to this account until the next anniversary? Because anybody could take that account or make one, and then you would have to figure something else out. So I just don't understand why you wouldn't make them both around the same time. But I guess people are saying it's fake. So maybe you've seen that, maybe you didn't, but yeah, I thought we would talk about that as well. Now let's start getting into some Switch 2 games that sound very exciting. One of them, I guess it's a bigger deal than I initially thought it was, because not only would it be cool to see it show up on the Nintendo Switch 2 because the Switch 2 has the power and performance of it, but I guess it would like signify other games from this company coming over to the Switch 2. Tekken 8 director Katsuhiro Harada recently addressed the possibility of a Nintendo Switch 2 port of the popular fighting game. While the director did not confirm on any official plans, he said that the idea of the Switch 2 port for Tekken 8 could be a good business decision and is not totally off the table, but may come with a few difficulties. Harada believes the idea is great from a business standpoint and could help the title expand its audience. However, it would also prove technically challenging, which makes it not a very easy decision. So I could be wrong, and correct me if I am. I thought Tekken was like PlayStation exclusive, but for some reason in my brain, I'm kind of remembering like an Xbox cover as well. I have not played Tekken since the PS1, maybe the PS2. I love Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, so I played those all the time. I'm not the biggest fighting game person, but looking at the Street Fighter 6 ports of the Nintendo Switch 2, they are so freaking impressive. And I know a lot of other games are getting the shine, like Cyberpunk, and then the Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games, and then obviously Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think Street Fighter 6 is one of the most impressive ports I have ever seen, and I've been watching a lot of gameplay of it, even though I don't play fighting games, but I just find like the whole Street Fighter community so interesting, and that's all besides the point. So I think Tekken 8 could run on the Nintendo Switch 2. But if it's a PlayStation exclusive, that's like a whole nother can of worms to open up, right? Would we get other PlayStation games, which I don't see why we wouldn't? Or seeing smaller games come over like Hot Shot Golf, and I believe it's called Papaton or something. I've never really played it, but I've seen that was a pretty big deal to people. And then there's rumors of a bunch of other PlayStation ports. You know, go back a year or something, out of the realms of possibility. But now, especially with the sales of the Nintendo Switch 2, who the hell doesn't want their game on the platform? If you're Sony, if you're Xbox, yeah, obviously you want to have people buy your consoles and then buy your games. But if you could sell millions and millions, and I really mean that number, like multiple millions of games just for porting them over to another console and make billions of dollars, well, you would be a big dummy if you didn't do that. So obviously this is just an idea right now, but the fact that they're even toying with this idea, it sounds pretty promising to me. Now recently we have been blessed with platformers, whether that be 2D platformers, 3D platformers. I just think we're getting a resurgence. Well, actually, what new 2D platformers have we got? Super Mario Wonder, I guess, and the Donkey Kong Returns remake. So maybe not so much 2D platformers, but regardless, platformers are back in a big way. Mario, Astro Bot, Donkey Kong. I think game developers are finally just seeing we want to play fun games. They don't need to be open world 200-hour adventures that are realistic and all that stuff. We just want to play fun games. And this is a good thing. So we have a leak for one of the best platformers that we have not seen maybe since 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So this is coming from Nash Weedle, Leak Express Rayman. 2 Rayman games are in development. A compilation release has been considered. Tests have been conducted to merge 3D gameplay with the artistic style of Origins and Legends. It is very likely that something will be tried behind the scenes at Gamescom. Side note, I got invited to Gamescom twice by 2 different game publishers and developers, and it's like, dude, that's in Germany. I would love to go, but I can't. But one day, that's going to happen. So I'm very honored that they would even reach out to me and try to give me a VIP pass to walk around. That's besides the point. If you have not played, what is the Rayman game on the Switch? Rayman Legends Returns, or what the hell is it? I can't remember. I haven't played it since like 2017 or 2018. You can find a physical copy all the time for like $20, man. It is so damn good. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know if that game is on the eShop. It is a game I never see on the eShop. Maybe it's there. But, you know, a game that incredible that I think technically was a Wii U port. I don't know how good it sold on the Switch. If I can find the numbers, I'll put it on the screen. Rayman is one of the best IPs that Ubisoft currently has. And I think this would be great for Ubisoft. You know, they're making all these games, and apparently they're losing money, and they're always on the brink of closing down or something. They had Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I think commercially did well, but it still wasn't good enough. And then they had the Prince of Persia Metroidvania game that was incredible. And then that had a sequel be canceled. And then they canceled the sequel to Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is one of my biggest gaming regrets, never being able to play something like that. If Ubisoft were to take care of the Rayman IP and to bring it back with some 2D platformers and 3D platformers, this would be a huge win. And obviously Ubisoft and Nintendo, a fantastic partnership. Have some people at one of Nintendo studios help work on it. And this could easily be one of the best games that they've put out in recent memory. So I think we'll probably see some gameplay of this very, very soon, potentially at Gamescom. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. I think we're going to have some very exciting Switch 2 news coming up in the next week or two, and then all next month as well. But yeah, man, kind of a slow start to this generation, but I think it's eventually going to pick up and have some really exciting surprises, whether that be new Nintendo games or PlayStation games coming over, or Xbox, or new IPs, or remakes or revivals or whatever. I just think there's some really cool surprises coming up. So let me know what you guys are thinking. As always, if you made it to this part of the video, remember, I give away eShop gift cards every Saturday. I gave away one Switch 2. I'm going to give away another one as the year goes on. All you have to do is be a subscriber, like and comment out the algorithm, follow my social media to help our communities grow. Yeah, I'm going to stream in a couple days playing like 4 or 5 games, and I'm going to give away a copy of every game that we play. So be on the lookout for that. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.